Right, this is what we've just cleaned off from sticking that board up. This is what's left. Now, people say that epoxy is very wasteful. The thing is, this is still moving. We can still move this stuff around. It hasn't set yet. This is the beauty of the green-based or vegetable-based epoxies. By measuring out our next load for the next board, we can add it to this. This epoxy that we've already pre-mixed will water down and dilute out into the next lot, so we haven't wasted any, and that continues all the way along those boards until we've done the whole end of the boat. And then what we have left at the end, we then come over to here and we will then make some deck beams. So the process hasn't wasted any epoxy that people keep talking about. They keep saying epoxy is so wasteful. It's not. It's the way you use it. Now, we were talking earlier about how different epoxies react and how quick they go off in the pots. What I want to show you here is our timelines. This is time, this is hardness or cure. Now, when we mix our crude based epoxies, we start at the same point down here. With our crude baseds, we start here and immediately they start to go up. And as the heat builds, it goes up, goes up, goes up, and then it starts to peter off and keep going and keep going and keep going up like so. That's an average curve for a crude-based epoxy. This is not accurate, this is just to show you. We would be sanding at roughly that point there. Yeah? That would be our sanding point. Now, when these crude bases produce wax and blush, this point here is the point that most people are taking it off. And they're doing it quite correctly. They're either using a detergent and warm water solution, or they may be using a very weak acid solution, depending on the product they're using. And they're getting rid of it. But they're getting rid of it, the wax that is coming out there. The problem with crudes is that they keep producing the amine blush all the way up to here. And where we get paint failure and varnish failures and other type failures, and again, when you glue on top of it you get failure, is because they've taken it off here, but they haven't let it cure right out and taken it off at this point here. With our veggie-based epoxies, the ones that I prefer to like, what happens is we have a different timeline. We start off the same, but nothing seems to happen. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So this here is your pot life. Then it kicks in, and it kicks in a far steeper angle. Yeah? And once it gets up there, it then goes flat. I'm not sure the spelling, but inert. I'm sure you'll understand what I mean by that. But here, we can actually sand at any point once we've got above that line there. So we're sanding here stuff that is virtually cured off on the timeline. And because of this timeline we've got to inert, once we put our paint on, yeah, we're putting it on an inert, stable base. You put your paint on here, past this sanding point, And I'm sorry, you've still got wax and amian blush coming out of the crudes. This is why I like this, the vegetable based ones. We can still use it, and it's just so much more friendly. This huge gap here, this time in the pot, this working time, means that with the stuff that we're using, if that board has gone on wrong and I've used the wrong board, I've still got time to go and take that board off, clean off the epoxy, put it on the correct board and stick it back on, and I'm still going to get a good contact.